Hello, darlings, and welcome to Confidence Leads to Success interviews with me, Elif Köse. This is my third virtual events that I'm organizing, and it has been phenomenal. I've had so many great feedbacks, and I decided to continue as I'm on a mission to help so many women to succeed in their life, whether in business or personal, to find the confidence to lead their own way and get onto their own driving seat. So today I have got the honor to guess my also mentor. She's just so wonderful, and there is, sometimes you surround yourself with women and then they just lift you, and Ros is one of them. Ros Thompson is a Bach Flower therapist, and I have been helped by her for the last 3 months, is it 4 months? And she has been helping so many women to manage their anxiety, stress, and emotions using the remedies, and helps to ease their negative emotions. So she's going to tell us a bit about herself and how she's helping women and how much it helps our confidence. Hi, Rose, welcome.
Hiya. Yes, hi. Thank you for having me. It's lovely to see you, Elif.
Welcome. I would love you to tell us how you started and what made you do this job.
How did I start? Well, a little bit of background. I've spent 45 years in the corporate world in full frontal sales and management. So therefore, talk about confidence. Actually, yes, it had to come from somewhere. I started off with quite a tough sales training course. It was American driven, so it was really, really high powered. And we were told when we went into it that if we failed, we would have to pay for the course. If we passed, the company would pay, and we got the job. As it was, the company paid and I got the job, and the rest is history. And I spent 45 years in sales and office management, and I've still got a toe in the water because I'm still doing 7 hours a week, which is great. It suits me fine. And some of my clients, I still have them. So there we go. So that's something for the confidence. But with regard to the Bach Flower Remedies, I had a hankering to do something with holistic therapies, probably right back from 1981, 1980. And I met a spiritual healer then who had quite a profound effect on me. And I kind of knew there was something I wanted to have a look at, but never really got the chance until we moved to Witterings near Chichester back in 1996. And I got involved with a Reiki master and started to learn my Reiki 1, which was lovely. And then I decided I'll go and do a course to relax, because the sales was very pressurized and the rest of it. Let's do something to relax. So I did reflexology and Indian head. Now, the only reason I did them is because I couldn't do the pottery class that I wanted to do because I didn't have a creative brain. So I was told by the lecturer. So off I trotted to another group. That's fine by me. Their loss was the reflexology's world gain. So that's how I looked at it. Time moved on. My daughter, it sounds like a tangent, but it's not. My daughter was learning to ride at the local riding stable. And she fell in love with a wonderful little pony called Moonbeam. Very, very dear to our hearts. Sadly, no longer with us, but yes, something we treasured for 20 plus years. He was superb. Lady came along and then said, would you like to buy him? What do you do? No? Yes, we bought him. And I bought him thinking, well, he's 20 now, 22, he was 21 at the time. He won't be here for that long. They don't live that long. So let's say we get 13, 15 years out of it, that's fine. He lived to the age of 43.
Wow, that's incredible.
43. Some people said to me, I looked after him too well, but hey ho, that was what we did. Anyway, to cut a very long story short, he had a very nasty habit of going to the field in the morning on a lead rope from the stable, and he would charge at the gate and he would push at the gate and he would go up and down and trot on the spot, and very, very, very difficult. I know quite a lot about horses, and I got some very experienced friends, and I got a lot of people involved. We couldn't find an answer. And somebody has said to me, "Ever thought about trying Bach Flower Remedies?" And I went, "What? What are they?" And I really didn't know. I'd never seen the little yellow bottle that half the world knew about, but not me.
Mhm.
And these have been around since 1940.
Has it
And
been
this
that
is,
long?
yes, they were
Wow.
all finished and developed in 1940. Possibly not in this same format, but they've been around. I didn't know they existed. So I went and saw this lovely little lady by the name of Pat Onions. I don't know if she's still alive and still in the village, but yes, told her the story about Moonbeam. She gave me the little brown bottles with the liquid in it, and I thought, okay, right, we'll give it a go. So lots of faffing around, digging holes in carrots and apples, putting drops in there. He had to have he had to have 16 drops every morning and 16 every evening. Off we went. 3 days later, it stopped.
I believe that.
And he walked out to that field like a little lamb.
Wow. That's
Now,
so fascinating.
I'm thinking, is it me? Is it him? Is it because the weather's good? I'm looking as to why it should change, thinking they don't work. Anyway, kept on with the drops for the next month, still nothing. And I'm thinking,
It's
done it.
working.
It's worked. It's done it. What a success. And I'm thinking, okay, so right, how do we do this? Basically, we treated him for fear. We treated him for trauma, all of which he'd had in his past because he'd been very badly treated with the previous owner. And we also treated him for agoraphobia because where he was, his fields were very open and they backed onto the beach down at the Witterings. So actually, with his eyesight, which was horses see inside of black and white, he couldn't really see very much other than that,
So he
with
was
nothing to break it up.
afraid of his
He was terrified.
imagination.
He was terrified, and it
Mm.
worked. And that horse never repeated that attitude and that behavior until the day he died, 17, 18 years later. 18 years later.
I It's fascinating, and I totally believe in that because
So,
I am one of your clients, and I have been through a lot of overwhelming feelings and exhaustion and what else,
yeah,
and we worked on them, and one by one we got rid of all of these, and I feel so much stronger and confident, and it really helps. I don't know what it is, and I don't really care what's in it as long as it helps me. That's
exactly,
what I'm
exactly.
interested.
But I think for me, that was kind of the proof that it did work and it wasn't a placebo and there was nothing. So anybody says to me, well, it's a placebo effect. No, it's not. You
No.
can't tell an animal it's a placebo. It's an energy remedy and it
Yes.
works on vibrational energies and it worked.
It's
So of course
so
I then
true.
thought,
I
right,
recommend to everybody, as you know, I keep giving your number like my business card because it's so important for women to feel confident, and it's okay. I mean, what I've noticed, a lot of women I work with through my fashion designing work, through my coaching, what I've noticed that we seem to be embarrassed to ask for help, embarrassed to tell our falls and failures and bad emotional sides. We almost feel embarrassed about being angry or embarrassed about being
yeah,
um, having low esteem, or and these are the things, these emotions exist. No woman, I don't know who everybody is watching and idolizing for themselves, but all those women out there struggling with one thing or another, and the way they're moving forward is they usually have these kind of helps. They have coaches, mentors, and emotional therapy. And I know the Bach Flower definitely has helped me. And I this is why I wanted to have you on this series,
thank you.
because it's magical having my 8 drops in the morning and 8 drops before bedtime. It really makes a huge difference.
I have some people that say that when they drop the drops onto their tongue, they kind of feel it happening and they
Yeah,
feel the energy from there. And
yeah.
I mean, when I became a therapist, you have to go through a process of courses. So I did an instructor course and then I went to Dr. Batch's house which is near Oxford, and it's just beautiful. I mean, it's
That
such a
was my next question. How did you, like, how
yeah,
did you, if somebody wanted to do it with you or wanted to go through the same process, how could they do it?
yeah. I'm not a trainer, unfortunately. Not unfortunately. It's by choice. I don't want to be a trainer. I'm
But they can
thoroughly
train
happy.
themselves through some
They go to
organization.
basically you do an introductory course.
Hmm.
It can be done at lots of local colleges, and then you can actually go to the Bach Centre near Oxford, and you can do your level 2. Now, the level 2 allows you to work with the remedies with your friends and for yourself, but it doesn't give you the skills to do the counselling and the
Hmm.
talking and everything else. That's further down the line. So you do your level 2. With your level 2, you do, I think, 3 or 4 case studies to talk to people and show them what work on people and see how you're managing and understanding the remedies, because it takes quite a lot to understand what they're all about.
Hmm.
Once you've done the level 2, and I recommend people to go to Dr. Batch's house. I do think that that is such a wonderful experience. It's
Where is
invaluable.
it? In Oxford?
It's in a place called Wallingford,
Wallingford?
a
In the
tiny,
UK?
tiny village in the UK near Oxford.
Okay.
It is a tiny, tiny place, and it is the same house that he lived and worked in. There is an extension now at the back that they've made into a slightly bigger workshop that now conforms to all the rules and regulations. And they
Amazing.
still produce the master tinctures there. So the main, what we call the mother tinctures for each one of these.
Wow.
Yes. So there's 38 there. So there's 38 different flowers and trees. And each one of the mother tinctures for each one of these remedies is produced at Wallingford.
Amazing.
Now, we have students there from all over the world.
So
There are,
fascinating.
I think we're in about 100 countries, and we have therapists all over the world in a totally international scenario, which is great. But as I say, they produce the master tinctures. You do your second course there, and then you can do your practitioner's course around the country. There are people that do the level 1 around the country too. But if you get the chance to actually go and do it and actually feel what the house is like, and I can't
Amazing.
explain it, it's amazing.
Okay, well, you have been
Garden,
in business for 11 years now, and we actually met on one of the networking groups that we're both member of.
yeah,
And that's very important, ladies. If you're in business, you really want to be part of networking groups because it really helps you connect with women. And you never know where you're going to find your next client. You never know where you're going to find your
no,
next inspiration. It's so important. But my question is, if you were, I mean, I'm sure you've learned a lot on your journey as an entrepreneur. Um, like, if you were to start again today, what would you do differently that makes you brings you to success faster and sooner?
prepare.
Prepare, planning,
Yep,
planning for anything.
anything, anything. I mean, I started this. I did this part-time. Literally, I might do 3 days a week, 3 evenings a week with 2 clients, 3 clients, 4 clients, sometimes 6, sometimes 7, work at weekends, all sorts of things. And I'm doing horses, dogs, cats, people, children, babies, all sorts. So it's a wide variety. But when I started this full time in lockdown, so April the 1st, I was furloughed. By April the 7th, I was up and running and networking with MNC. But what I didn't have when I started, I didn't have a website. Well, I kind of did, but I didn't. It was
I think what
go town.
happens is we all start, but
Yeah,
if there is somebody could actually give you the blueprints to follow, this is
yeah,
why I always say get a coach, get someone like get a mentor, because when you're so excited about to do the actual job, you
mm,
forget the website and the business cards and and being part of networking groups and do a research of which ones are the best for you.
yeah, yeah.
It can take I can see what you mean with planning and
Oh,
preparation.
I mean, I just kind of, because it went so well and it went so quickly, and there was so people were so desperate. I
I
just kind of,
remember when I first started, I started as a bit an alteration girl, as you know. I was an alteration girl, and
yeah,
somebody asked me, do you have a website? I thought, website? Do I need a website? And I remember asking my at the time boyfriend, going, do I need a website? And he said, yeah, of course you do. Every business has a website. And that's
Yeah.
where I did a website all by myself and it looked ridiculous.
Well, I don't have the brain. I'm of a generation where we weren't brought up with computers and laptops, and I don't have the brain to do it. So I had to get someone to do it.
Well, this is the thing. I'm so pleased you told me that. So I spent hours to create this one-page website by
Yeah,
myself.
yeah,
In the time that I spent, I could have altered so many clothes that I already had piled in the sewing
yeah,
room
yeah,
and paid for that 3 times.
yeah.
But this is it. What happens is when we start businesses as small business, we're being told that everybody has to do everything by themselves, but you
Absolutely.
don't.
No,
Think about the value that what you do can do and add to other people's life and get someone else to do that job that you're just going to take
that's right.
3 days.
That's right. I I will tell you a really quick funny story. I spent an hour and a half one day when I had a cancellation, and it gave me an hour and a half free during the day, and that's really rare for me. And I spent an hour of that hour and a half trying to download photographs. And in the end, I threw in the towel and I rang an IT guy that I know, and I said, how do I do this? He said, ring me back at 2 o'clock. And I rang him back at 2 o'clock, and by 2:10, it had been done.
Exactly.
And I thought, I'm not going to bother next time. I'm just going to
Exactly.
find somebody who knows what to do. And I think, I mean, you talk about confidence, and I think that we all have to learn that just because we're confident in what we do doesn't mean we're necessarily able to do everything that we need to do. And we need to be confident enough to be able to actually say, I don't actually do that. That's
Ask for
beyond my
help.
limitations, and ask for help. Because if you don't ask for help, A, you waste a lot of time. B, you can possibly waste an awful lot of money because your time is money
That's right.
and you're not achieving anything. And I thought, actually, that has really taught me a lesson. So next time I am not fumbling around in the dark, feeling a complete idiot. I'm just going to ask for help. Please, sir, can you help? And
I love
it's
that.
the only way. I think that was a really hard lesson to me, because I could have gone and sat and had a cup of coffee or a cup of tea downstairs and read a book for an hour. I wouldn't have done. I'd found something else to do, but I could have done if I wanted to.
Hmm.
But instead, I wasted that hour.
Just invest in yourself. Relaxing
Yeah,
and resting is
exactly.
actually the biggest
Exactly.
biggest proactivity, like being
Yeah,
productive. It can be
yeah,
productive by
yeah.
resting.
Yes, Mr. IT geek comes along and solves it in 10 minutes. I think, okay.
Well, that was going to be my last question for our interview, actually. What does confidence to you? What, how would you describe confidence for women who wants to start their business or they're in business or they just want to
For
find that
me,
confidence in themselves?
I think, I mean, I come across a lot of people that don't have confidence, and they
You
stumble
ooze
and
with
fall
it.
about. I mean, yes, they stumble and fall about, and they say, well, I'm frightened or I'm anxious. And they put these names on these things, or they actually, the commonest word is, I'm suffering from anxiety. Well, I unpick that word anxiety, because that word anxiety covers 1,000 things. And I say, well, where does it come from? What is causing you this anxiety? What's causing this fluttering? And 9 times out of 10, it'll come down to confidence. It'll come down to low self-esteem. And I think if you can actually break that word down and stop using the word anxiety or I'm feeling anxious, and actually understand how you truly feel, and you can admit to yourself that actually it is your confidence and it is that low self-esteem, then and only then can you start and build on it. You have to admit it to yourself to be able to start and work on it. Now, that might have come from bullying as a child. It might have come from home. It might have come from people in the workplace. I mean, I've got a client at the moment who's been so badly bullied at work, she's actually been confined to her house, working for herself for the last 2 years. But when you get into it, she was also bullied at school.
Oh, I see.
So it was kind of ongoing. But step by step and very, very slowly, you can build yourself back up again. And I think if I could say to people, if you have a list of things you need to do and a list of jobs, and we all have lists and bits, and the list is either up here or it's on your phone or on a piece of paper or 10 pieces of paper. Put down 2 things for one day and do those 2 things. And then you can look at that and think, done those 2. I feel good about that. Then the next day you might put 3 down and you'll feel good about that. And gradually you'll build more and more and more confidence, because you'll see the fact that you actually can get through that list of things. Instead of putting 20 things down there and only getting 1 done and looking at the list and saying, oh God, I failed again.
I know.
Because all you're doing is compounding it again and again and again and again. And if you lose your confidence, you end up with a fear problem about it, and it becomes an even bigger thing.
That's right.
But we all suffer from it. We all suffer from lack of confidence. We all have issues over confidence. Can I do that talk? Can I make a talk to that person? Well, of course I can.
Why
Don't think
wouldn't
that
you?
Margaret Thatcher didn't
Somebody else
stand up.
done it before you.
Exactly. Don't think that Margaret Thatcher or the Queen or anybody else doesn't stand up and make a speech and think twice before they get up and think, oh my God, and they've got butterflies in their stomach and all the rest of it. You just say, actually, just breathe. Look at all the actors that have got butterflies and nerves and stage fright and everything else. But if they can get on and do it, so can you. They're no
Amazing.
better.
Amazing.
And they've all gone down that same road.
One task at a time, ladies. One task at a time.
Honestly, it really is. And this is not an advert for me, it's an advert for anybody out there. If you are really, really, really terrified, get yourself a
One
bottle of
of
Rescue
them.
Remedy.
Amazing. Thank you
You
so
can
much.
tackle anything with Rescue Remedy. I'll tell you that. You can build a mountain with Rescue Remedy.
I did when I had my about nearly 2 years ago now, my event at Grand Hotel, my big lunch and fashion show. I had to come out and do my speech and welcome everybody. And the hairdresser at the backstage, she said, "Oh, come here! I've got some Rescue Remedy," and then she just dropped some in my mouth and she said, "Here you go on now."
It's true.
It
I
does
can't
help.
I know what's in there and I know why it works. But it does work.
I know it. This was I just going to say again. Sometimes, if it works, don't try to find out why, unless you're going to use it as a profession yourself. I just think it works. Why not just go for it? Oh, this has been
So there
great,
we go.
Ros. Thank you
Short
so much.
lists, not long ones. Make your expectations realistic.
So how can our audience can find you? We're going to put your contact details and website all on the interview notes and video notes. But if you want to say it also, it would be lovely to hear from you.
Where am I? I have a website. Yes, www.remedies by Ros is the website, and there is a public Facebook group, Remedies by Ros, if you want to learn more about the remedies. And there is a Facebook page which is Ros Thompson. I am not on Twitter and I am not on Instagram because my brain can't cope. I am on LinkedIn and it's just Ros Thompson or Remedies by Ros. So that's
Lovely. I'd like to share your group on my group so everybody can contact you.
Thank you.
Lovely, Ros. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was wonderful. Thank you.